If you are planning a trip to Finland, Norway, or Sweden, one question you're probably asking yourself is, should I book a glass igloo or stay at an Aurora hotel to increase my chances of seeing the Northern Lights? Don't worry, this was us 2 years ago, and we are here to answer all of your questions and help you have the best experience planning a trip around Lapland.
We're going to go over the top 10 hotels, where they are, when to go, how long to stay, price, and so much more. You are not going to want to miss this. If you're new here, we are Giselle and Steven, also known as the Lover's Passport, and we have traveled all around the world in search of the most beautiful destinations and best experiences to do while you are traveling. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy this video and subscribe if you love to travel. Now with that, let's jump into the video.
Now, what are glass igloos and Aurora hotels? Aren't they just your average accommodation? No, and they also kind of reflect that in their pricing, but they are really special accommodations that are typically placed in darker areas of cities to give you a better chance at seeing the Northern Lights. When it comes to design, there's two different ways to approach it. One is more of like a traditional hotel vibe. A lot of them are more old style lodges. And then the other are these beautiful modern dome-shaped glass igloos, entirely panoramic roofs that you can look out of your bed and see the sky from. So they're really unique to these areas in Lapland where you can see the Northern Lights frequently. You'll also have a very nice, unique experience inside the glass igloos. They typically come with heated floors and all your other standard amenities like coffee machines and tea in the room. Some will have fridges, some won't. They're typically pretty small though when it comes to the actual room itself. You won't have a lot of room depending on the style of igloo that you get. We have stayed in both a much larger one where it's 2 stories as well as smaller ones where it's really just a bed, a coffee area, and some chairs. So it ranges in sizes.
Now, when should you visit and how long should you stay? Well, since typically you're booking these accommodations so you guys can see the Northern Lights, we would recommend visiting between September and April. That is when the sky is going to be the darkest and when the aurora is going to be the most active in this area of the world. If you guys want to see how to take photos and videos of the Northern Lights, you can check out our other video linked down in the description. We talk all about how to chase the Northern Lights and where the best places to go, as well as all of the different apps that we use. Now, how long should you stay at every single accommodation? We would recommend somewhere between 3 and 7 days. If you guys are going to be hanging out at one area, for instance, if you were in Rovaniemi or you were just hanging out in Tromsø, then yes, you can hang out there for a full week and there will be a ton of different activities that you guys can do. But if you guys were doing a big road trip like we were, we started off in Rovaniemi, drove all the way through Sweden, Norway, went up north, and then came back through Sweden and ended our trip in Finland. So with that, we only stayed around 2 to 3 nights at every single one. Compared to the first time we went, we stayed a full 7 days in one accommodation, which does allow you a lot of time to see the aurora in one area. But if you do only stay around 2 to 3 nights in every single accommodation, you do have the opportunity to chase the better weather. One thing that you do want to remember is there are a few things that you need to have in order for the aurora to happen. The hardest one to get around is the weather, especially since you will be visiting during September through April to see the best Northern Lights. That is also going to be the middle of winter, so there will be a lot of winter storms coming in. There will be a lot of clouds. In our personal opinion, September and March were the best times to see the Northern Lights, and during our 2 trips, we did one in January where we saw it 0 times in 1 week, and then we did another one in March, our most recent trip, and we saw 12 out of the 16 days we were there. So you can definitely tell that you're going to see them a lot more, hopefully in September and March near the equinox. Now, even if you have perfect weather, it's clear outside, and you have high aurora activity, it is a natural phenomenon. So you are not guaranteed to see them. Personally, out of all of the times we've stayed in an aurora hotel, we've only actually seen it from our bed maybe 2 times total. Out of all those times, most of it is when we're out on activities or we're chasing the aurora in our car to get to the best location.
So how much do Aurora hotels and glass igloos cost? That's a great question. When doing this trip, just know it's definitely not a super budget friendly accommodation style. All of these are fairly expensive, but they do range in price depending on seasonality, size of the glass igloo, the features, and whether or not activities and partial or full board are included, because a lot of these hotels will also offer breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or breakfast and dinner depending on what package option you include, and a lot of them will also have activity center at the hotel that you can book extra things through, whether you want to do dog sledding or snowmobiling or ice fishing. There's so many different ones that you can add on. So sometimes booking an activities package with your accommodation will also make it a little cheaper. So when we're talking about your standard glass igloos, these are typically going to be your like 1 bedroom, fits about 2 people glass igloos during the peak season, which is late winter to early spring. So typically around January to early April, and that's obviously going to be peak Northern Lights season time. So that's when they are going to be the most expensive. A lot of them also get booked up really quickly, so we'd recommend booking these out in advance. January and December are actually typically cheaper because you have a lot more temperamental weather, like Stephen was saying. So you have a lot less likelihood of seeing the Northern Lights, so you might find cheaper prices then. But for all intents and purposes, this is going off of pricing generally from late January to April. Prices typically start around $200 to $400 a night. And then in the later months like March and April, you can typically find them being anywhere from $400 all the way up to $800 a night. So it does get very pricey very quickly, which is why when we did it, we would rotate around between regular Airbnbs and hotels and Aurora and glass igloos because we didn't want our budget to be just absolutely blown out the window. And when it comes to booking all of your accommodations, there's 3 things to be really cognizant of. One is how early you're booking. Like I said, this is a really popular thing to do during the winter and early spring months. So making sure that you're booking out a couple months in advance so that you're getting your primary accommodation option that you would like. A lot of these spots have limited room capabilities because the glass igloos are so unique. Like some of the hotels we stayed at only have 5 to 10 rooms. So being on top of it is crucial. Check for packages, like I said, whether that's with activities or sometimes if you add on multiple nights, if you stay longer, you'll get a discount. So make sure to keep an eye out for that. We joined all of these Aurora hotels email lists to get an extra idea of what discounts and packages they offer where we could save a little bit more money. And lastly, if you have flexible dates, that's going to be key here so you can figure out the best time to go based on your budget. That's all for your Aurora Hotel and Glass Igloo trip planning. Now let's jump into the most important part of this video, the hotels themselves. So let's get started with the Aurora hotels first. These are not the glass igloos. These are the hotels that are based in prime Northern Lights areas that you can see the Aurora. So firstly, in the Lofoten Islands in Norway, we have the Hatvika Lodge. This is located in Ballstad, and it is an absolutely amazing property. There's one restaurant called Fanks on the property, which was delicious, and it was entirely farm to table. You do have to book reservations in advance if you do want to eat here. They also have a dockside sauna, which was beautiful. Some rooms do come with a jacuzzi, which was really nice, but if not, you can also rent out the hot tub and the additional sauna that's a portable one. And the staff was absolutely amazing here. We also did some activities like kayaking while we were there, and it is just absolutely stunning. This is one of our favorite properties we've ever stayed at, and everyone and everything about the property was just really, really great. So highly, highly recommend the Hatvika Lodge. Make sure to book in advance. That is one that will get booked up very far out.
For this leg of our trip, we're staying at the cutest spot called the Hatvika Lodge, and this is our cute little cabin. This is a seaside suite called Vegabua. And so come on in. We have a cute little kitchenette area with a microwave, a dishwasher, and a fridge, and they give you a ton of dishes so you're able to cook some of your own food. We do not have a stove in here, but we do have the microwave, so that's at least a little something something. They give you coffee and tea every day. I think they do have limits on it though. You do only get like 2 capsules of coffee per day per person. We have our beautiful seaside suite. We have our nice cozy bed. This bed was really, really comfortable. And of course we have a beautiful view of the other Roarboos, some beautiful photography all throughout. And then we have a nice bathroom, which is amazing because it has heated floors and a beautiful makeup light and a freestanding tub and a great shower. So nothing to complain about here.
So when it comes to pricing for Hatvika Lodge, you can expect around $500 to $600 a night as average. There are a set number of Roarboos, which are those fisherman village houses, which are the majority of the hotel. They also do have the mountaintop houses, which are a little newer, a little more modern if you want to stay there as well. But we stayed in one of the harbor side Roarboos, and it was so nice, super spacious, and we thought it was a great central area of Lofoten to stay if you guys are heading that way into Norway to do your Aurora chasing. Next up, we have Lyngen North. This is about an hour outside of Tromsø in Norway, and this is another one one that was actually like so underrated. When we got there, we were really, really impressed by the quality and the service. And what's something special about this one is that they have a whole Aurora program where they will dim all of the lights around the property and it will turn green outside of the main lobby if the northern lights are visible. So you know to look up in the sky, and it gives you basically its own hotel-wide Aurora alert system, and the food at the restaurant was really good.
Welcome to our next beautiful home on this Arctic Aurora road trip. We are now in the Lingen Alps, staying at the beautiful Lingen North. This is a really cute area, and we have rented out an old little seaside fisherman's cabin. They also do have Aurora igloos, these beautiful hilltop modern cabins as well. Come on inside. So immediately once we check in, we have some heated floors, which is really nice. And then of course we have our own private electric sauna, which was so nice to use the past 2 days of staying here. It's perfect for about 2 to 3 people, probably 2. And then we of course have our bathroom. Then we have this beautiful living area down here, which is really nice because yesterday we were in the middle of a snowstorm up here actually. So we just kind of camped out and we got a ton of work done. And then we also have our full kitchenette. So we have stove, dishwasher, toaster oven, like all the dishes you can need. They even give you a coffee pot, coffee like Nespresso machine. And then they also have like a ton of the essentials inside the cabinets already, which is really nice. So you don't have to go out and buy all your own seasonings and things like that. But this view is insane. You can't really see it right now because it is snowing outside, but the Aurora happens right there.
Next up, moving into Sweden, we stayed at the cutest little family-owned B&B called the Mataraka Lodge. This place is so small, it doesn't even have its own website. We had to book it through booking.com, and we took a chance on it, and it was so cute, and the staff was so nice. And there's only about like 5 or 6 rooms there. There's also a sauna you can book. They also have like backcountry skis available for you, and they are a site where dog sledding tours operate and snowmobiling tours operate. So you're close to a lot of stuff there. It's about a 10 to 20 minute drive to the world's first ice hotel, which is totally worth checking out. If you guys missed that video, we'll link it down here and in the description box for you too. So this is a great home base if you want to check out those things or do those activities, as well as checking out the famous Abisko National Park in Sweden, one of the best dark sky areas to see the northern lights. We had an absolutely insane show there. So we definitely recommend staying in this area. It's not like the most fancy hotel on the planet, but you are so out of the city, where we saw the northern lights here the 2 days we were here without any light pollution. And yeah, it's just a stunning area, and we really loved the hospitality of the staff there. Next up is a hotel / Airbnb in Rain in the Lofoten Islands, and this was called the Kato Garden. And it honestly felt more like a communal hostel kind of vibe, but you were right in the middle of Rain, right next to the trailhead for Rainbringen if you are interested in doing that hike. This was one of the hotels that we could actually see the northern lights from our window the multiple nights we were there, and it was really cute. It was another kind of like lodge style hotel. The room was actually really big, and they also had a nice community feature, so you could also go downstairs for free yoga classes. You could also add on a kayaking tour which ran from the hotel, and they had a community like kitchen where you could go and cook downstairs, and you could even buy things from their store, which was really nice.
So with that, let's jump into our first glass igloo. This one is going to be the Arctic Skylight Lodge. Now, this one was pretty unique. It is out in the middle of nowhere. So it's in between Ivalo and Rovaniemi. It's out in this forest. It does have almost no light pollution, which is one thing that we absolutely loved. You do see the aurora from both sides as well as on top of you and in front. It does have a rectangular shape compared to the typical circular shape, but that also does mean that your neighbors can basically see you in all directions. As soon as you walk into the room, there's a bathroom. It's pretty small, and then there's the bed. And then as soon as you sit down in your bed, you can look to the right and look to the left, and you can see your neighbors pretty clearly. So this is the room. You walk in and bam, that's about it. You have a full glass panorama view, and then on top as well, a full glass panorama view. So This is the first one I feel like where we can see almost full 360. Now that being said, you are out in the forest. There is quite a bit of trees behind you. There is a frozen lake that does have this beautiful sauna where you can go and relax in the sauna and then do the cold plunge in the lake. The restaurant there is also to die for, but for us, it just felt like it was a little out of the way. There was no Wi-Fi in the room, which was a big downside for us since we were working on the go. And you could also see into your neighbors' rooms, which was a little hard for us. But besides that, this lodge was awesome. Next up, we are going to be diving into the Aurora village of Valo. Spoiler alert, this was one of our favorite lodges that we stayed at out of everything. It does not have a full 360-degree view of the Aurora, but it does give you a really nice 180-degree angle in the correct direction of it. Another nice thing about it is it does help with privacy. They angle all of the glass igloos in a U-shaped form so that none of the glass igloos are facing each other, so you do have a lot more privacy compared to quite a few of the other glass igloo hotels. This one in particular has a ton of activities as well. We went snowmobiling and we went dog sledding, and you can go and hop in the sauna. They have a beautiful lake that you can go jump in. It's right in Avalo, so you can do all of the activities there and go out for dinner, or you can stay on property for dinner. So it was definitely one of our favorite ones, as well as it felt very family oriented, where the last one, the Arctic Skylight, definitely felt more geared towards adults and a lot more of the Instagrammers compared to this one, which felt a lot more family oriented. Next up is going to be the Arctic Treehouse. This one almost looks like a rectangle. The one great thing about it is it does give you quite a bit of privacy. So unlike a lot of the glass domes, people from all the other hotels will not be able to look into yours. But the only bad thing is you can only really see the Aurora in one direction. Since the glass is on one side of it, when you're looking out, you really can only see it from there, rather than most of the other Aurora hotels and glass igloos. You have the opportunity to see it full 360 degrees, or at least 180 degrees around. I will say that the restaurant at this spot was absolutely incredible. So great restaurant, really nice for the privacy, great location, just very expensive and limited on viewing experience. Next, we have Apuka Resort.
Come on into our Lapfish Cami Suite at Apuka Resort.
This was our second favorite out of all of the glass igloos that we went and stayed at. This one was very similar to the Aurora Village of Valo. The only difference was that this one did have a 360-degree dome shape, as well as they had a lot of different models. They had bigger rooms, they had smaller rooms, whereas the Aurora Village of Valo, typically they just had one style room in that U shape. The Apuka Resort was massive. So they had big, small, they had full glass, they had regular cabins. It did have a huge variety of options that you could choose from, as well as it was in a great location right next to Santa Claus Village in Rovaniemi. This one was also very kid friendly. It was a great spot for families. They have all the amenities there for you as far as Wi-Fi, restaurant, great snow gear if you guys didn't pack warm enough, and it was just a ton of fun. So this one was definitely our second favorite, especially when it came to price. It also had a very good price point for all the different activities that you can do. The last one that we're going to be talking about for the glass igloos is the Arctic Snow Hotel. Now, this is, like the name says, it is a snow hotel, but it also has this beautiful glass igloo. The only problem with this one is it is the full 360-degree glass igloo. So when you visit here, if you stand up, you can look into all of your neighbors' rooms, which we did not particularly like, especially when we had to change or hopping out of the shower or we're just hanging out. You could definitely see directly into what everyone else was doing in their room. The great thing was that you could also go and visit the Snow Hotel right here. So price was a little bit more expensive. Size, it was pretty small. Viewing experience was the best because you had a full 360-degree view, but that also goes in hand with you don't have as much privacy. So we would recommend, out of all of these, checking out either the Apuka Resort or the Aurora Village of Valo if you guys are staying in Rovaniemi or Avalo. And that is it for the best Aurora hotels and glass igloos in our opinion. We have stayed at a ton of the different places in Finland, Sweden, and Norway. So we hope that this can be very helpful. We highly recommend, like we said, going in March or September so you have the highest chance seeing it. And if you are hoping to just lay there and that the Aurora will come and find you in your bed, we don't want to ruin it for you, but you will have to chase the Aurora. It is a natural phenomenon. It is absolutely incredible to see, but it is once again very difficult to see if you guys are just laying in bed. So is it worth the money? I think that is up to you, but in our opinion, it was an amazing experience. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more videos from us, give us a like. We have our ultimate guide to Norway coming out soon and our ultimate guide to a full Finland, Sweden, and Norway road trip coming out. So be on the lookout for that. Make sure to leave us a like and subscribe. And with that, we'll see you on the next adventure.